Hello, friends. It's John Clan Third of episode 198 of Shadow and Flame and Magic, your premier Kitty Pryde, Lockheed, and Magic podcasts. Yesterday was New York Comic Con. It's still happening, but we had the X-Men panel. It featured the Shadows of Tomorrow, which we got a great Stefan Caselli art, which I'm gonna have to definitely get when it becomes a comic book cover. And it pretty much showed, I don't know, 60 to 80 X-Men characters, and Kitty Pryde is on there, of course, as is Lockheed, which is always exciting for me. And then Magic, and of course Magic is nowhere near um Kitty and Lockheed, but sure. And Lockheed's on the ground too, where I'm like, he can fly. What's that about? And Kitty's next to Nightcrawler, so that'd be fun if we can finally get that friendship back, because I love Kurt and Kitty's friendship. And um, they announced or confirmed, I guess, the Cyclops series. They announced a new X-Force title with Cable, Meltdown. Oh man, there's some other character. Oh, Archangel, and a fourth character. I don't know. Immediately, I was like, this isn't a book for me. Benjamin Percy's writing Deadpool, who's back under the X office. And oh yeah, Rogue's getting her own solo title. And Magic and Colossus are getting a Buddy 5 Limited series by Ashley Allen, and Peralta's back as the artist. So it's just the Magic creative team we love back for more. I'm gonna try to get the covers that don't feature Colossus on here, but if any character needs a fresh new start, it's Colossus. So maybe it's time to finally just, he's been beaten down enough. We can start giving him a chance. And no references to the Psylocke series. Eve E. Wing made a comment about Exceptional X-Men, but did not get any cover art for it. So but she promised that the characters we love are still going to have stories, and then I guess there's a group of characters from Age of Revelation who are now leaderless, and so we're gotta see what that's about. And also, a character doesn't make it back from Age of Revelation, so it's either Cyclops or Beast, unless there's another one. But I'd be okay with Beast being stuck in the future. And then, no, if that's the thought, then shouldn't it be Cyclops then? But Cyclops is getting his own ongoing, so maybe it is Cyclops? I don't know. It's sort of like when Blue Bloods hinted that someone was going to kill one of the Reagans, and we were like, well, it'd be okay if it was Aaron. And then all of a sudden there was a commercial break, as, we were supposed to think for 3 minutes. Who was it going to be? And then once it came back from the show, I was like, well, no, they wouldn't kill Aaron because that wouldn't have any emotional damage to us. And then, of course, it was Jamie. And, you know, that definitely got our interest. So we were like, oh, okay, stakes are high. Anyway, so I think that was everything. So we just have to just see the January solicitations should be out soon. AIBT was great with the coverage. Apparently they didn't let out the previous Marvel panel, so the giant X-Men line barely got any movement in there. Um, which just feels very frustrating. Um, But yeah, like I don't know, it was supposed to be an hour, and I feel like we only got 20 minutes of the coverage, but still pretty nice. And then I know Elliot Page and James McAvoy is supposed to be doing a panel tomorrow, I want to say. So we'll just see. That was supposed to be the one that Nicholas Holt was supposed to go to, but he got injured, and so he can't travel. So no, that's disappointing. But at least Elliot Page is there. Um, which a couple of days ago, I did have the thought of like, how hard is it to reach out to Elliot Page's people? And the internet did not want to give me, which I'm sure the internet's full of, like, give us money and we'll set you up with a celebrity. I'm like, I don't think that's what I want to do. But now we live in the age of Cameo. I'm just now having the thought now. That'd be fun. I wonder how much cameos are. I know McFoley's was affordable. Well, today we're going to review Marvel Zombies The Return, issue 3. My second favorite Marvel Zombies title. We'll also be doing Amazing X-Men Volume 3 1, Binary 1, Lower Kinney Sabretooth 1, War of Revelation 1, Longshots 1, and Spider-Man Wolverine 6. Um, yeah, so spoilers for all those books, and then let's get into it. Back cover ad is for Kira Motors, which honestly, car ads in comics, like what are we doing here? Just give you a perspective, Arkham Asylum's coming out, gonna change the way video games are gonna be, especially for superhero games. Trying to see if I can find the what year this game. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's red on black text. You gotta have super young eyes for this. Oh yeah, it came out in November 2009, which feels like forever ago. And this is written by Jonathan Mulberry. Artist is Jason Sean Alexander. Colorist June Chung. Letter is Simon Bolin. Cover artist is Arthur Soydum, who was famous for all the Marvel Zombie covers he did. Production Damian Lucas. Assistant editor Michael Warwitz. Bill Roseman's the editor. Ralph Macchio's the senior editor. Editor-in-chief Joe Quesada, publisher Dan Buckley, and Alan Fine, executive producer. We get a nice little caption of the previous page. It started with a flash in the sky and a ripple through the clouds. The hunger, a plague from another dimension, brought a corrupted hero to this world. He fed on the Avengers, turning them into soulless monsters who consumed the world in 24 hours. After gorging on the world devourer known as Galactus, the super undead gained a portion of his vast power cosmic, becoming a threat not only to their world but all realities. A last-minute gamble by the surviving humans teleported the fallen Avengers to worlds unknown, from which they have not been heard from since. Until now. One of the infected, Spider-Man, appeared in Earth Z, a parallel planet untouched by the zombie contagion. Untouched, that is, until the wallcrawler inadvertently caused the virus to infect the once innocent world. Determined to redeem himself, Spider-Man set off in this now dangerous dimension to find a cure, unaware that he's not the only one of his teammates to surface on this brave new world. The Titanic giant man has also landed on Earth Z, and he's ready to make it a four-course meal. When Spidey discovered the antidote before the high-pocketed menace makes a gastronomic masterpiece out of the unsuspecting planet. Tokyo, Earth Z, 2 years after Chapter 2. We see Kitty Pryde in her classic Wolverine Kitty Pryde. Nope. Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries, the first issue. And you follow along on this with me on my TikTok and YouTube channels at JackoSII. And then tomorrow I'm going to post the images from this, so that's something to look forward to. Kitty, mutant phaser, and rookie member of the Uncanny X-Men. She's like, Logan's gonna kill me. I missed the rendezvous. He told me to meet him in the back of alley in the worst part of Tokyo to help him bust help an underground fight club the Hand has been using to recruit new talent. A chance for him to continue my education, his global road trip. Lots of violence and even more rats. And then she comes across Logan, but it's zombie Logan. He looks pretty cool. He's like, here, kitty, kitty. And then she screams, and he devours the hand ninjas, which is terrifying. And yet another ad for a car. Like, imagine car companies were just like, yeah, we'll do cheap comic book advertising. Why not? And then zombie Wolverine gets tossed aside by Spider-Man, who says the classic, "Come with me if you want to live." And so, yeah, so Kitty and Spider-Man come together. Always a fun combination, especially in the original Ultimate Universe. Though the 616 versions barely have any real time together, except for when they do, it's a whole like dedicated issue, like Marvel Team Up. And issue 135? That feels right. And then 118 is the Xavier issue where they have breakfast together, so that's fun. Um, So they're swinging. Katie's disgusted as there is a lot of flies around and it stinks. And he doesn't mind because, of course, not. And then Spider-Man gives a little background of what's been happening with the zombies, but he's working on a cure. Because, it's nice to see the science side of Spider-Man coming through. And then we got a double page car ad. Like, honestly, that's a lot of cars. And then we see zombie Wolverine still working his way through, and then Sunfire shows up. And then they go to the deathmatch Tokyo with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Hey, double page ad for Ultimate Alliance 2. Great game. I will buy remasters of X-Men Legends 1 and 2 right now if they sold it. And the Konami X-Men title. I'll get that. If I could find a PS3, I believe I should still have that X-Men game on there. Um, and then back to the thing, Kitty's finally like, Spider-Man's not taking notice of the stench of it all. And so she opens a door and finds a bunch of decaying carcasses. And then Spider-Man has to reveal that he is a monster. And so that's terrifying. Then we catch up to Kitty's Logan, who stabs zombie Wolverine. But of course, he has a healing factor, so it's just fight, fight, fight. Classic poor Elektra is one story beat everyone wants to do, apparently, and zombie Logan stabs her through the chest. And then Spider-Man has to explain to Kitty Pryde how he's a good zombie and he only eats bad people, which is like, sure. And then to try earn her trust, he tells her where zombies, um, you can't just cut off a zombie head because like Colonel America got his head chopped off, but he still exists. And so you gotta actually stab them in the base of their spine or their base of their skull, where their skull meets the spine. Wolverine keeps fighting the zombie Wolverine. And then Spider-Man and Kitty catch up to Logan. And then Kitty, as an awesome fighter that she is, puts a stake through his head. Kitty Pryde, the zombie hunter, or slayer. And then we get to the final pages where Logan keeps slashing away at zombies because what he does is the best. What he does is not very pretty. And 1 hour later, Spider-Man's like, this is perfect. Not as strong a reaction as I anticipated, but with any luck, this will do the trick. I'll take our friend with me. I have to find the others. The others? You're a true hero, Logan. You just saved the world. I'm going to be in therapy for the rest of my life. I'm going to have to stay drunk for the rest of my life. Now, what do we do? I mean, have we stopped this thing? None of the suckers ever getting up again. So what do we want to do? I don't know, maybe grab some grub. Ugh, how do you even think about eating right now? Guess I worked up an appetite. Then it ends on this weird thing where like their hands are right next to each other. Like, what are we supposed to be implying from that? And then next issue, I think believes has a time jump like this issue did, and so we skip issue 4, and then I'll just spoil it here and say that we will be doing issue 5, and then we got one more zombie issue, and then I believe that's my Marvel Zombies collection, except for like when they show up in various other books. And I bought this from Mile High Comics, and it was a very fine edition. And honestly, I don't see anything that keeps it from being near mint. So as far as I'm concerned, I saved a couple of bucks on that. All right, so Amazing X-Men Volume 3, Number 1. Cyclops immediately takes charge of the future X-Men. Glob asks him who died and made you leader, which I always appreciate when that question gets asked. There's actually an answer. Magneto, Zorn, Forge, and Archangel is the price of Cyclops' leadership. I also like how Cyclops says that he was pulled from the past and then remembers that Beast was pulled as well in the very next panel. I was like, Beast keeps making comments that people should take the hint to explain further, but no one does. Jen's mutant name is Animalia, so look forward to that being her name eventually once we get back to the present for Shadows of Tomorrow. Cyclops also makes a point of telling Child to no idea how to pronounce that they need to chat about 3K so he knows what to do about them once he's back. I imagine they don't get around to having this chat before the two issues are over. We see that, well, plus the finale issue. We see that Revelation needs a power boost from Fabian Cortez and another person to keep Logan under his influence. X-Men make it to the Grey Mulkin prison. We learn that Warden Ellis was doing something horrible to these prisoners, something that really isn't being hinted at in the present day. We've learned more about that in Simone's Uncanny X-Men run, I'm sure. Speaking of whom, we learned the grounds are haunted. We see Death Dream is here in the future. He hasn't aged as he's been dead. Logan shows up and everyone tries to slow him down as they are there to teleport even further away from him. Logan slices Death Dream's head clear off, but he's probably okay. Um, X-Men teleport to Providence and not Philadelphia as intended. So instead of meeting the ghost of Philadelphia, we meet Darkchild and a very horny Juggy, and that he has white walrus horns coming from his chin. Psylocke is also her prisoner, so we need to learn how she ended up like this after speaking to Bay the Blood Moon and Overthrow. So yeah, pretty solid issue. Then we have Binary number one. We learned that Kyros the Phoenix, and going by Binary, as that was the name that was the closest fit. I do appreciate that the Warboard reference. That's how I was first introduced to Carol. Carol's using the Phoenix Force to protect her hometown from the X virus, but people are getting upset X years later. We see a redhead, a Scarlet Witch, or Madeline Pryor are going to knock Carol down a peg. The Phoenix Force has been bucking against Carol, so I suspect Jean Grey's close to returning. Laura Kinney, Sabretooth number one. Laura Kinney is the Sabretooth as she and Sabretooth's heroic son Zane died, so she honors him by using the name. They also have a son named Alex, which is an interesting name. And before we get the Zane reveal, I was super concerned Alex was Havoc's son. Zane is probably going to be the new character find of 2026. I imagine Zane's mother died horribly if she's any connection to Sabretooth. The story of the issue is Gabby and Akihiro are leaving Revelation Spear, and Laura wants them to take Alex with them. He doesn't have any powers, and he is Laura's sole weakness, so he's safer than not being around. Hellion and Laura are not getting along as he spies the entire conversation and reports their revelation. I like how we get to see a different side of Revelation as he understands this is a family matter, and so they work it out. He's offended that he hasn't made his territory as safe as those who would have wanted. Issue ends with Laura stabbing Hellion through the his heart. So we'll just have to see where we going from there. World Revelation 1. It has three stories. The first one is Bay, the Blood Moon, heading to Apocalypse. She isn't the only one, as we see a jerk, Charles Xavier, also wants an audience for Apocalypse, so we'll see how this plays out in some series, as we're not getting a second issue of this series. Wiccan and Hulkling get a story that fills in some of the history of the X years with a heavy focus on those two, of course. Thirdly, we see Franklin Richards, who's like a giant bat creature. Herbie gets a few pages as we see he hides himself and is discovered decades later, so we learned that everything ends well in the future, as nature always gets the last laugh. And then there's Longshots 1. Mojo doesn't want to renew Longshots' contract, so the X-Babies, Wolvie, Cyclops, Storm, Colossus, and Jean recruit a different team. And no Shadow Kitty, so I was pretty checked out of this issue, but it seemed pretty fun. And then Spider-Man Wolverine 6, I'm pretty checked out on this series as well, but I do like how Vermin showed up as J.M. DeMantis used him expertly so in his Spectacular Spider-Man run with Sal Buscema, that one day I would love to get that omnibus. Um, oh, and my wife was literally asking me at breakfast this morning, like, what do you want for your anniversary present? And I literally was like, I don't know. That was like gift cards to eBay for comics, but I should ask for that because that thing's a hefty price. Anyways, um, no, I think I've seen it because it's an Onabuy, so or Onibus, so it's usually like full price, like $150, but you can find one for like 87. But I have to find that link and then send it to her because comic shopping's complicated when you're trying to do it for anyone who's not yourself. Um, and then next week's comics we have the Fantastic Four Gargoyles crossover, which As much as I love crossovers, I did not just pick up a copy of it, but now I'm like, oh, should I have done it? But I'd probably be okay without it. I mean, I did like Gargos, but I was always more of a Darkwing Duck type of guy. Though I just saw they announced Darkwing Duck and Gargos are crossing over, and both creators of the two franchises are working on that comic, so that should be exciting. Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe 4, which preview pages do show magic, so that's great. I'm on board now. Iron and Frost #1, one of the titles I was most anticipating for Age of Revelations. One War Under Doom 8, which Magic's been, I think, in issues 5 and 7 thus far, but barely a panel each. Unbreakable X-Men 1, which is the Gail Simone Uncanny title. Rogue Storm 1. Oh yeah, Storm got a new launch too, where they're keeping Ari Delay, the writer, and then Manson from or Marson from Exceptional X-Men is the artist, so that's a great creative team. And then Sinister 6, which is Mr. Sinister, and I already don't care. But I want to say Sabretooth, Havoc, Felicia Harding mutated, three others, Omega Red, something, two more people. I don't know. Zero interest. So I don't know. Well, Marvel Zombies Return will probably be the lead comic. I mean, not probably, it will be. And then Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe 4, Iron and Frost are the ones I'm most excited about. Ideally, we'll get Kaliko in Unbreakable X-Men, but we have to find out. Um, I suppose Death Dream wasn't the ending. As we're now years later, he hinted that something bad happened in the past, and I can only imagine that connects to the ending that Gail Simone's been hinting at. Oh yeah, her character Mutlina is coming back once we're set in the present day, so I'm excited because I got that issue. So if she does turn into a popular character, first appearance on Lock as Kitty Pryde's on there talking to Rogue on the phone. So yeah, so at least two books for sure. I mean, we'll review all of these, but see which ones capture the imagination. But everyone, that was episode 198 as we're heading to episode 200. Um, and you can follow me on the socials at Jacko SII, and you can follow the podcast. I will be picking four of these pages for the promotion. So I gotta figure out which four because I think there's like 13 images, but on YouTube and TikTok, I'm just gonna do all of them. I gotta figure out what cool song would be. Usually, what I do is I post it on TikTok, whatever song it automates. I'm just like, yeah, good enough. This is something completely out of character, and then I'm just like, well, I'll just pick something. But that's something to look forward to for Sunday. And but the socials for the podcast are SNFWM on Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and I'll talk at you next time, everyone. Thanks for listening or watching on YouTube, and I will talk at you next time. All right, everyone, bye.